Welcome back, Math 13 students. I want to give you a short tour of your Canvas course shell. Our online course uses the Canvas Course Management System, or Canvas as we like to refer to it, to present the material. So everything we need, all the material, all the quizzes, all the assignments are going to be located in your Canvas course shell. The only thing that's not in Canvas is your text. You will need your text for this semester. You've seen it there in your syllabus. So the course management system is a way for us to convey all this wonderful information. So I want to go ahead and give you a short tour of your Canvas course shell and let you know where the important pieces are and how they're going to help you this semester. So let me go ahead and share my screen. There we go. So your dashboard should look approximately like mine. I'm going to go ahead and open up this particular section of elementary statistics. They're all about the same. Then I'm going to go ahead and switch to the student view. So this is what you guys see when you log on. When you log on to your Canvas course shell, you actually land on the title page. It says a little bit about the course, not much. It's really just a launching pad to take you to the meat of the matter. So over here on the right is how we like to keep up with what it is we need to do. There is a to-do list of assignments and their due dates, and we also have access to a calendar. If we scroll down, we can see the first of the assignments down here ready to be due at the end of January and perhaps the beginning of February there. So your calendar gives you a very visual view of what is going to be due and when it's going to be due. The list gives you a nice, concise task list of things that need to be accomplished. We have course notifications. These are also important. Aren't any really right now because we're just getting started, but you might see notifications there also. I'll point out that really important stuff is sent around by me via announcements to make sure that it lands in front of everyone appropriately. So the right-hand side, once again, is really a way to keep up with the assignments and make sure you're getting the stuff done when it needs to be done. Now, if we go over here to the left, this is where the material actually lives. We have our syllabus. The syllabus will lay out the various details of our course, co-requisites if there are any. We have a list of topics, a list of supplies, and I'll point people to the fact that we'll need a TI-84 calculator and our text, Elementary Statistics by Mario Triola, 13th edition. We have your grading scheme, student learning outcomes, ways to get support, online course detail, and some contact information. You'll notice I've got an office, but obviously I'm not going to be there this semester. The office hours also can change quite a bit. So you'll really want to look for my announcements. As it stands, the office hours this semester will be Monday, Wednesday, 6:30 to 7:30 p.m., and Tuesday and Thursday, 4 to 5 p.m. We have a little bit about online etiquette and online attendance and the student experience, dates of import, assessment, and the like. All that is contained in the syllabus. It really lays out the detail of how the course is going to be run in terms of your grades and whatnot. Now, the most important link on the entire site from my perspective and your perspective is probably the modules tab. This takes you to the material itself. Now, there are a couple of different ways to access course material. I tend to think that the module tab is really the most direct and straightforward way for students to access the course material. In here, we've got all the material we need. We've got the assignments, we've got reviews, we've got material I've generated for the course, we've got the quizzes and the like. So there's a lot of detail here. You'll notice, for example, part 0, introduction, we have a first assignment. It is due January 30th. We have a quiz, also due January 30th. Now, if I click on any of these, say the quiz, it'll take me directly to that particular quiz. And I will note that this particular quiz will not become available until January 29th. So as I say, the module page contains everything you need. If I take a look at part 1, I have access to PowerPoint presentations of our lecture. We have the actual assignment itself. This is the Introduction to Statistics. And again, it's going to be locked until January 26th here. I might open that up for tomorrow. But in any case, there all that stuff is. We also have technical detail, summary and technical detail. Here's where I go ahead and summarize the stuff that you've seen in your text and in your PowerPoint presentations. And you can read through this at your leisure. It contains graphics, sometimes videos. In fact, a lot of times the technical detail will be on how to work with your calculator. So as I say, the module section truly is the place where you're going to do all your good hard work. Below that, we've got our assignments. This contains all the assignments we're going to look at this semester. We've got by date, or I can take a look at them by type. Either way, they're all there. This is a bit of an intimidating page because the entire semester is there before you. Do realize not all of this needs to be done during the first week of class. Below that, we have discussions. Now, I use the discussion tab rather sparingly in this particular course. I usually use it to take assessment of how involved students are. Often I will ask students to post to a discussion so I can know a student is still enrolled in the course in a meaningful fashion. Again, you'll have prompts and the like if you are required to participate in a course discussion. Below that, quizzes. And here again, we've got all the quizzes for all the semester and all the exams too. It's a long list. Again, not all of it needs to be done during the first week. Grades. And again, here you'll see a list of everything you will or have been assigned, along with your score and an overall grade. Confer Zoom. This will only work, well, it's not going to work for me in this particular setting, but it will work for you. It's a way for you to set up meetings with me if that is what you would like to do. Sometimes it's also how I interact with you via the meetings. The Hartnell College Library has a dedicated tab on our Canvas course shell. If you need to access library resources, this is the way we do it. And again, because of the pandemic crisis, we're not open for business in a face-to-face fashion, but we are open online. Now, the very last link on here is also a very important link. And together with the module link is really probably the two most important links on this particular course shell. This is where we'll give access to our Panther Learning Lab. This is how students will access face-to-face, not face-to-face, online tutoring. And a number of other particular resources particular to the Panther Learning Lab. Here again, I'll be reaching out to students, prompting you to take advantage of the services that you see here. So that's a very quick view of your Panther Learning Lab, your course shell. And again, I'll be reaching out to you on a regular basis and reminding you of all of these details. It's an awful lot to absorb in a short video, so it's something that we really work into during the course of the semester. The first week should be pretty busy with learning how to figure out how to use your course management system and becoming comfortable with the material itself. As far as the material goes, the first week or so is mostly entirely vocabulary. You're going to think you're in an English class possibly, or possibly some other obtuse science class, just chock full of vocabulary. Anatomy comes to mind. So given all of that, you're going to want to maintain a regular presence online in this course shell, and you really don't want to get behind. Being online puts an awful lot of obligation on the student. For whatever reason, if we have regular face-to-face meeting times, it's much easier for students to stay on track and stay on task. You're really kind of left to your own devices. If I'm not in your face, chances are, if you're not focused, you'll be really challenged this semester. If you are focused, if you do have a desire to succeed, if you are willing to reach out when you need help, We can get you through this, get you through this with a grade of C or better, and get you on your way. This is a transferable level math course. This is a course that will play like any other at any other four-year institution. So do keep that in mind. I am here to help, but I can only help when I know what the problem is. So make sure I know about those problems and we will address them. I'll say goodbye for now and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.